Hi guys, welcome, good evening, and welcome to the second week of Australia's Capture Paranormal, the Paranormal and Spiritual Apprenticeship. So we had some great interactions last week, which was really nice to see, and we had some great conversation, which was great also. So just while we're waiting for a few people to get on, like always, I know Tuesday nights are not an easy night for people to jump on. They've got family commitments, that sort of thing. So if you can watch this later, that's great. But if you can make it, we'd love to have you. So everyone that interacted last week and everyone that interacts online this week on the live will go into the draw to win a spirit pack. So I've got all the names for last week, and after this live is finished, I'll put in all the names for this week. All right, we'll just wait a couple more minutes. Excuse me. So this week I actually finished my herbalist course, which I'm pretty excited about. So I'm now classed as a home herbalist. And I've been fiddling around with herbs and things this week, which I'm really loving. Hey Leanne, how are you, doll? Yeah, so that's what I've been up to this week, and just been busy with the full moon and doing full moon stuff. So tonight we're going to go through a couple of different things for both paranormal and spiritual. So we'll go through protection, debunking what it is, what it isn't, pareidolia. So a lot of people have issues with that, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about the difference between tarot and oracle, and capturing evidence. So and equipment that we use, the different types of equipment and why we use those pieces of equipment at different locations. So let's get into it. Please, if you're watching, jump on and say hi. Please interact, ask any questions that you might have, and it might steer us into a different direction tonight than I was planning on going, but that's the purpose of this. So, okay, so protection. Hey, Belinda, how are you, hon? Protection in working with spirit, and particularly in the paranormal investigation side, is really important. So we can protect ourselves in different ways, and it's the best, it should be the first actually, tool that we have in our toolkit when we're packing up to go on investigation or to do work with spirit. The first thing that we should be doing is protecting ourselves. So there's different ways of doing it, and everyone has different ways they prefer to do it. So you can do protection through ritual, mantras, chants, that sort of thing, prayer, doing a protection prayer. Most of us that go out in the field or work with spirit have our own personal prayer. I've actually written my own that I've been using maybe 20 years now, and it's changed slightly over the years. A lot of us wear jewelry, so different crystals. I personally wear, sorry, you're going to get my, okay, this is what I wear on investigation. So that's an amethyst bear. Okay, that was given to me by my mother, actually. It's Native American, and I have a huge connection to Native American culture. Don't quite understand why, because I don't have it in my physical genetics. But so that crystal I only wear when I'm working with spirit. I don't wear it just as a piece of jewelry. So it's like my armor, I guess. So when I put that on, and I've got a couple of other pieces of jewelry that I put on only for investigation, then that's me saying, okay, I'm open to receiving and communicating with spirit, and it is my armor, I guess you want to call it. So a lot of people have different jewelry that they will wear. Sage. So saging yourself, your environment, can be done before and after. I only usually use sage after an investigation if we've had some issues where the energy is a little bit icky, or I've got a really strong connection that I think I'm not going to be able to let go of. So that's when I would use sage. Grounding is very important after any work with spirit. So whether it be paranormal investigating or whether it be working with spirit through tarot, that sort of thing, extremely important to ground. So when we do our classes on Wednesday night at Penrith Spiritual Group, after we've finished our class, I put out a small spread of bickies and cheese and crackers and tea and coffee and juice, that sort of thing. And that's designed to feed our body, our physical body, and to ground us. Another way of grounding is to, and if you've investigated with me, you've probably seen me go outside, take my shoes off, and just walk around on the wet grass. That's another great way. Just get out of your environment, go and connect with nature again, and do some grounding. It is extremely important that not only yourself, but everyone that's with you also has protection. A lot of people that go out with you will not know how to protect themselves. So we always tend to do a group protection as well, so that when we're investigating, that we're confident and comfortable that everyone is protected. And then after we've finished, we also do a closing protection. So that closing protection would be something like thanking the spirits for coming through and working with us, thanking them for letting us be in their environment, but letting them know that they are to stay here where they are as we leave, and they're not to come with us. So there's lots of different ways of protecting. Leanne's saying same here. It keeps bouncing up and down. So I think, Leanne, you're saying that you do your protection as well. So how do you do your protection? Are you a jewelry wearer? Do you have a chant or a prayer or something that you do? Oh, Hopi Indians. Okay, so you've got the connection too. Do you have like a biological connection, or is it just a spiritual connection that you don't understand either? I've had it since I was little, and we started going over to the States with the kids probably around 2010. About 2010, and in certain spots over there it was just like being home for me. And I've read so many books on it. I know I have a Native American spirit guide. He's one of my guides. So I don't know whether that's why I have the connection, or I've got him as a guide because I have a connection. I'm not real sure, but so protection is extremely, extremely important, and I don't think enough people put enough emphasis on it. There are times where I know that when I'm going into a location that is supposedly really active, that I will do a little more protection. I'll give myself more protection. But there have been times where I've gone into a location and not protected myself, thinking either I don't need it, I'll be fine, or completely forgetting, being in a hurry and completely forgetting. And it hasn't served me well. So we always make sure that we protect ourselves now. So, okay, now debunking. A lot of people don't understand what debunking is, and that is another really important tool that we need to have. So debunking, I just looked it up on the computer, and the description is where is it? To expose the falseness or the hollowness of an idea or a belief, or in our case, something that's happened. So going into an investigation, and the first thing that we do is we go around and do a walk around, or a walkthrough is what we call it. And in that walkthrough, we're looking at, we're taking different readings, different EMF readings. We're taking note of how things feel, and looking at different hazards, that sort of thing. So it's a complete walkthrough, so we know the environment. We're getting to know the environment. So a lot of the times before even our equipment is set up, we start getting things happening, and that's usually how it happens, especially if you're familiar with the location and you're on a return visit and you've built rapport with the spirits in that location. Then a lot of them are happy and excited to see you. Some are not so excited to see you, depending on their personality and the relationship that you've got with them. But a lot of the times before your camera's even on or your equipment's on, you'll start getting activity. Okay, so our job as investigators is to take note of what's happened, and try and find out what else it could be. So we don't want to just have something happen and then go, oh, that's spirit activity. Okay, that's not responsible investigating. So our job is to debunk it, to find out what else it could be. So if we hear footsteps, for example, the first thing that you would do is to go and make sure that there's nobody else in the property that, or in that area that you've heard the footsteps. So you would go and investigate that. If you know for 100% that there is nobody, say, above you or in the next room or down the hallway, then that's interesting. And that's where we go, okay, well, we may have caught some footsteps. You can't just jump to the conclusion that that's what it is, okay? Not really till the end. So investigating is going in there and grabbing bits of information that you can and then making it a story and putting it all together. So it might be that there is one particular location that we've been to where it's a private residence, and the gentleman that lives in the property, he stays upstairs while we're downstairs. Now, of course, if we're hearing footsteps above us, we just assume that it is him. But there's other locations there where you can walk into and you know you're the only one there. You might hear the footsteps. So that's something to take note of. Then there might be cool breezes. I remember being in the Australian Arms Hotel, actually, and we had just walked up to the top of the stairs. We were the only ones upstairs, and someone walked through and went, oh, I can feel a cold spot. Okay, and this is when this was going back 10, 15 years ago. This is when cold spots were the big thing. Everyone was feeling cold spots on these TV shows. And this person said, oh, I can feel this cold spot. So I came up and I understood what they were saying because I could feel it too. But then it's not, they were quick to jump to say, oh, this is a cold spot, it's spirit activity. The rest of us were like, hang on a minute. So we had a look at our environment. We walked around, we checked things. And what it was is as you walk up the top of the stairs, above, just above that area was the air conditioning duct that was actually blowing the cool air down the stairway. So we were able to debunk that. Okay, I don't think he was too impressed because we sort of poo-pooed his spirit activity, but that's our job. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So it can be really difficult. There was another location where we were all standing in the one room. Everyone that was on the investigation was all standing in the one room, and there was a door in the cupboard, built-in cupboard, and a door that swung open. And we all sort of looked at each other and thought, oh my God, we've got something here. So we went and investigated the door, and we had a look, and it was just a cupboard. So we thought, well, there's nothing in the cupboard to push the door open that we can see. So what we did was we latched the door and we jumped around on the floorboards. We got people walking around sort of upstairs, downstairs, around the room to see if maybe it was a situation with the latch. Nothing happened. Then we had someone go on the inside of the cupboard and try and push. Nothing happened. We tried absolutely everything that we could possibly think of that could have created that door to come open on its own. And we even got it so it was almost latched and then let go of it to see how it would open on its own. And it did open on its own, but not with the force that it had opened with before. So again, we can't say 100% that was spirit activity, but I tell you what, we couldn't figure out what else it could be. So that's another one of those things where you put to the side and you go, well, we heard footsteps, we had this door open, and that's why we like to videotape too. Belinda's saying, just like when we heard the keys jingling at Dubbo Jail, went out to hear who was around. Did anyone walk past? Yeah, exactly right. So you hear something and you don't just assume that what you're hearing is what you think it is. So it could have been, we even asked, I think, Belle, I remember going around asking everyone that was on the site that night, do you have any coins in your pocket? Do you have any keys on you? And we were checking to make sure that it wasn't one of us that had walked on the outside of one of the cells that may have had some loose change in their pocket or something like that. That was a good night, actually. So that's what debunking is. And there's there's a million different things that can happen at an investigation. There's a million different things that you can try to do to debunk it. I personally find it really interesting when you've got a group together and you have something happen and you decide, right, well, we've got to try and figure this out. We've got to try and debunk this. And everyone comes up with different ways of doing it. So you could spend 40 minutes trying to debunk a door opening on its own because you're trialing all these things. And that's what's great about working with a group of people, because you have a lot of different input as to how you could try and debunk that. So too many people, I think, are quick to jump on the bandwagon because they want it to be spirit activity. We all want it to be spirit activity, but if it's not, it's not. So I think that, I think it's a really important tool that you need to have in your arsenal, is to know how to debunk and when to debunk. There's also we do a lot of old houses, so you might be sitting there in the silence, which is a lot of what you do on an investigation, is just sitting and listening and waiting and trying to hear and see in the dark. Old houses have creaks and all that sort of thing. Hot weather, you're going to have expansion. Cold weather, you're going to have all sorts of things. I hate doing an investigation when it's raining, because the rain can sound so different on different surfaces. Hey Dave, how are you? Sorry I'm late. I was yelling at a shrub for being the best. Okay. Sounds like a good night. So rain's a really hard one to debunk when it's on different surfaces. And we've been out in the open in the elements with rain, and just the rain hitting trees can completely screw up any evidence as far as audio evidence. One drop you can hear in a house could be on the other side of the house going down a drain pipe. Sounds very different. So, it is hard debunking, but that's part of investigating. So, all right. I have a bit of a funny throat tonight. So another thing that we need to make sure of, and it happens a lot on investigations, is pareidolia. So what is pareidolia? Again, I looked up the dictionary and to find out what the dictionary says, and it says the human ability to see shapes, pictures or faces out of randomness. Okay, so finding meaningful images in patterns that are familiar to the human brain. Now, the human brain is programmed to recognize faces. So you might, I think all of us have looked up at the sky, at the clouds at some stage and gone, oh, that looks like an elephant, or that looks like a face, or that looks like a dog. That is, that's what we're talking about, pareidolia. So you can find pareidolia anywhere. So, for example, I think we've all probably seen, I don't know where it came from, but Virgin Mary turned up on someone's piece of toast at one stage. And it was just how the bread had been scorched and people were seeing it. It could have been faked, that one. But, so we can see it anywhere. And a lot of the times we see it in... a lot of times you can see it with your eyes, but a lot of the times we're seeing it in photos. So people will put up photos and say, look, I can see a face here, or I can see this, I can see that. Now, because our brains are trained to see things that are familiar, when we see something, especially in a cluttered environment, so in a bunch of trees, that sort of thing, where we take a snapshot, our eyes automatically go to trying to recognize something in that photo. And 9 times out of 10, it's usually a face. Dave says, I have at least 30 memes about pareidolia. Yeah. Now, that's not to say that when you're taking a photo, say in a cemetery where you've got all the different shades of graves and the different heights and sizes, and then you've got trees at the back. It's not to say that we aren't capturing something that's unusual or paranormal, but in all likelihood, we can't really say that is spirit or that is a ghost, because it's too prevalent that we're seeing that our eyes are playing tricks on us. There have been many a times where I've put up photos and gone, check this out. Like just recently, I think it was earlier this year, might have been later in last year, put up some photos of a cemetery that Belinda from Western Sydney Spirit Sisters and Vicky were with me, and we were wandering around and I was taking some snapshots. Now, the reason I was taking snapshots was because with my own eyes, we'd gone into the cemetery, we'd parked, and we were the only ones there except for a council worker. And as we were walking down the path, I saw another man over near one of the graves. And he looked a little bit strange. And I went to turn around to say something to the girls and turned back, and he was gone. I was like, oh, where did he go? At that time, I noticed that the council guy was leaving. Hey, Scott, how are you? Queensland's most haunted. Welcome. Leanne's saying we are programmed to look for faces to understand if it is friend or foe. Exactly right. And do we get ready? And do we get ready for the fight or flight? Exactly right. So, hey, Jeff, how are you? So, yeah, as I couldn't find out where he'd gone, I thought, maybe he's bending down, putting some flowers or something like that. So I didn't pay much attention to it. A couple of minutes later, and there's no way, unless he ran, that I saw him in another location, and it was quite a distance. And I thought, oh, there's that guy again. And I mentioned it to the girls. I said, there's a guy over there. He's really strange. He was there a minute ago. So I started taking photos, and I was just click, 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 click. When I looked back, this guy was gone. I was like, where has he gone? Seriously, he can't be ducking in behind all these graves. So I went in search. So we walked over there to where I had first seen him. And when I was looking for him where I'd seen him the second time, he's gone again. 3 times that happened in the same cemetery. And at that stage, we were the only ones in the cemetery. When I actually looked back at the photos, and I put that particular one up on our page, when I look back at the photos, there is a figure that is caught, and I put the red circle around it so people know what I'm talking about. Or is that you, Mia? Is it Scott or Mia? I don't know. Whoever it is, hello. And I found that really interesting because what came up in the photo is what I saw with my eyes. And it was also very interesting at the first location. When we got to the first location where he was, the grave was significant to why we were there. And it was a bit bizarre that we'd just done an investigation at a private home, and we were going to this graveyard to find the connection to that investigation. And it was almost like he led us to this specific grave. So, really bizarre. So if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I hadn't seen a figure of a male with my own eyes, once I looked at the photos, I would have gone, oh, that's really cool. That looks like a figure. I know for a fact that the figure that's captured in that photo is what I actually saw with my own eyes. So that's really cool. Scott, I tried tagging her, but not sure if it worked. Oh, okay. Jeff, the Fairfield video is good. Oh, thank you. If you've seen our Fairfield video, that's just a day that Belinda and I decided to head out to explore. We found a house that was actually opened. There was an auction going. There was a changing of hands of buyers, and we got to walk through the property. We did some investigating there on the sly. We did speak to the owners about potentially coming in and doing an investigation, but the new owners were not interested in that. So, and it will not be open to the public ever again. So it's going to be a private home. So we were really honoured to be able to get into such a gorgeous property, and had been left in rack and ruin. And they have, so we spoke to them about their plans of fixing it up and what they were going to do with it. And we're really excited for them. We're glad that someone's taken it on and giving it new life. So yeah, there were some great responses too. So if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. There was obviously a few deaths in that place, and a couple of the answers that we got, we were able to actually put to some actual facts. So it was really interesting. But I digress. So pareidolia is one of those things that, again, a lot of people, they want to find something creepy. I know that quite a few of us will put up, actually, even at Fairfield on the video, there was, looked like a face. We'd taken a shot of, I think it was a window, and it looks like a face. And not just a little bit of a face, but a full face looking at us through the crack in the door or the window. And while we can't say that that is a spirit, it certainly looks like it, and it's certainly a cool capture. But yeah, look, 100% that guy in the cemetery that we have caught in that photo, and I'll try and put it up if I remember. I'll write it down. It wasn't too long ago. Cemetery photo, so you can see what I'm talking about. Yeah, so you'll see what I mean. Also on that day, we caught a lot of other things that we put up and went, oh, can anyone see anything in that? And we always do that because it's a bit of fun, it's a bit of interaction, but it's also interesting to see with you, when you guys don't have any context or to what we think that it might be or what we're seeing. It's very interesting to see if other people are seeing the same thing. Now, what fascinates me about the whole thing is, if it is pareidolia, why are we all seeing the same thing? I don't know how that works. Our brains are very complex, but I just find it interesting that when we put it up and say, can anyone see anything? We're not telling you where to look or anything. And a lot of people come back and go, oh, this, I can see this. And that's what we're talking about. So, but just, you can have a little bit of fun with it, but just be aware that our eyes do play tricks on us. It's like when you see something out of the corner of your eye. You know, are we really seeing that? Or is it just something that's caught our eye and our brain wants to say, oh, there's something there? So, yeah, really interesting. Jeff, have you done the quarantine station? No, not. Oh, well, we have. We've done it multiple times, but we're actually staying there in about 3 weeks, I think it is. We're staying overnight. We're doing our own thing beforehand. We're doing the tour, and then we're doing our own thing afterwards. So we're looking forward to that. I don't think Rob's looking forward to actually staying there overnight, but I talked him into it. But yeah, we're interested in having a look at that place again. So yeah, it's good. All right. Also, just before we go off the pareidolia, there's also audio pareidolia, which I was reading up a little bit. I knew about it, but it's not something that I've really paid much attention to, and probably should have. It's the same sort of thing. So, okay, Dave, slight sidetrack. Do you think people can see energies from a photo where there doesn't seem to be anything? Absolutely, I do. And the reason I believe that, Dave, is I am a medium myself, and I can, not on all photos, but if the energy is strong, I can be looking through people's photos, and not so much on landscapey stuff, but if there's people in there, I can pick up on the energy of that person. So a lot of the times I can pick up their emotions or what they're going through. Sometimes what is coming up for them. It's not something I try to do. I don't deliberately look at a photo and try and read the energy of it. But sometimes it just smacks me in the face. So yeah, I really do believe that that you can pick up and see and feel energies. Also, you might be talking about auras, like people's auras. We talked about this in our Wednesday class a couple of weeks ago about auras, and I've only ever seen someone's aura once, and it was a good friend of mine I'd known for many, many years, and I had never seen it before, and it was there, and I wasn't really listening to what she was telling me. She was telling me a long story, and I was just sitting there going, because I wasn't concentrating on her. I was concentrating on the aura that I could see around her. So I don't know if people can see auras in photos. I personally can't. But I guess, I mean, anything's possible in this field. Where energy is involved, anything's possible. And I don't think we'll ever understand truly the depth of what energy, past energy, environmental energy can allow us to do. I think we're only just seeing the top of the iceberg. Jeff's saying, I get a lot of good responses there. I think you're talking about the Q station again. Leanne's saying, yes, we can. So Leanne's obviously able to do that as well. So, but getting back to audio pareidolia, so that's when we are using our EVPs, so doing the voice boxes, the spirit boxes, that sort of thing. So what it's suggesting is that we're hearing a random sound and we are interpreting it to a familiar voice or sound. So, for example, when we're doing EVPs, a lot of times, or working with the spirit box, a lot of the times we're obviously asking questions. So there is the power of suggestion too. So if I say, do I have a man here with us? Can you give us a name? You're only listening for a name, really, because you want a response to your answer. So it's really hard to, especially when you've got the white noise, the shh going as well. It takes great skill, and a lot of people are really good at it. A lot of people aren't so great at it, is to be able to block that out and actually listen to what's coming through. Now, depending on what device you use and how long you've been using it, you could be getting multiple voices coming through. That's why I've gone away from the Ghost Box and more to the Necro app, because I find that easier to listen to. But yeah, so I think the power of suggestion is also there too. So if you already know that there is, say, a mark in that property, and you're saying, do we have Mark here? You might hear the M sound and you go, oh, we've got Mark here. Okay, so that I think is what they're talking about, audio pareidolia. I'm just going to scroll back here because I'm missing what people are saying. Leanne, I've watched mediums on stage and can see the aura's energies come in from the side. That's awesome. That's cool. I haven't seen it, but I can feel it. So I can feel when they're connecting, or I can feel that who they're connecting to, but I can't actually see it. But to see it would be really cool. I'd love to be able to do that. Dave, I have asked Spirit to stand for a photo and confirm that they had via Ouija board. So I suppose I have a ghost selfie. I've got to put up this one I was talking to Sarah about on the live the other night at the Macquarie Arms. Hang on, let me just make a note. Macquarie Arms photo. Yeah. Yeah, look, that's a great experiment. And this is what I love about the paranormal. Everyone has different ideas on how to try and capture spirits. So asking them to stand in a certain spot for a selfie or a photo, and having them to confirm that they did. Did anything come up in the photo? Can you see anything? That'd be interesting. Okay, so it looks like we have another one on our page. I don't know if I can get rid of them like we had last week. Delete comment and block user. We had, did I get rid of him? If you see any, if you see anybody coming up during our lives or afterwards, thank you, Belinda, for letting me know. We had some guy on last week and he was commenting on everyone. Just let me know, and I'll get rid of them. Where are we? Leanne, I cannot listen to the spirit boxes. I've tried many times. Yeah, look, I find it hard. Rob hates them. As soon as we're doing a spirit box session, he's like, I'm out of here. I'm going for a break. He really just can't get his head into that. That's why I love, Scott's saying that's why I love the Etsy method. Belinda, that's why it's, whoa, where'd you go? That's why it's good to not know anything about a location. Exactly right. We talked about, I think it was last week, we talked about not researching before we go. And that is a good way to, I guess, get rid of some of the audio pareidolia. Dave, I couldn't, but a psychic friend of mine did. I've gotten better at spirit box. I had a very, very cool experience at Dubbo Jail. I think everyone's had, we should all organise to go and do Dubbo Jail again as a big group. We went with a big size group, and actually Belle was involved in helping put together an experiment that worked really well. There were lots of noise coming through, and I heard my grandmother tell me to go away, to leave me alone. It immediately went silent. Oh, okay. Then I heard two spirits talk to each other, asking if they could get me to dance. I did a dad dance, and sorry, it keeps jumping up. I did a dad dance, and I heard, look, he's doing a jig. That's really cool. Yeah, maybe we should organise later in the year to go as a big group for anyone that's interested in going. Maybe go and do Dubbo Jail for the weekend, go and explore around Dubbo. Leanne, I'd been on that Dubbo Jail tour. Yeah, I think we should. It's been a while. Was it last year, Belle, that we went and did Dubbo, or was it the year before? Was it this side of COVID? I can't remember. Yeah, just arrived the day before so we can rest before investigating. Yeah, everyone turned up. Well, you guys turned up the day of, and everyone was absolutely knackered. It's expensive to hire out at night. It is, but we have hired it out at night. I think there was probably about 12 of us, and it wasn't too bad. It was, we all sort of pitched in, and it was the year before, yeah. We all sort of pitched in, and it was a good night. But it's one of those places that I think we all sort of went into sort of planning to fly by the seat of our pants. And because I don't, obviously I know it's a jail, but because I don't research it a lot, I could have been a little bit more prepared. And like Belle said, we were absolutely exhausted because we'd all had a big day the day before, traveling there and stopping and doing stuff. Or you guys had travelled up on the day. So, okay, talking too much. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between tarot and oracle. So this is going sort of outside of the paranormal investigating and more into the spiritual. And we're going to, that's what this apprenticeship is all about. It's a little bit of everything. So we're going to pop in and pop out of those two different subjects. Obviously, they're interconnected. My computer keeps playing up. I don't know why. Doesn't want to play nice tonight. It's very strange. Okay, so there a lot of people don't know the difference between tarot and oracle, and some people prefer to work with tarot, some prefer to work with oracle, some work with both. All right, so we'll go through the differences and then I'll show you the differences. So tarot, I've written my notes here so I don't forget anything. So tarot is obviously hundreds of years old, and it is the first form of card type reading materials. Tarot has a set structure. It has 78 cards, and they're divided into 2 decks. So there's the 22 majors and the 56 minor cards. Now, the minor cards are the wands, the pentacle, the swords, and the cups. Okay, and each deck has a similar meaning. So the cards, so you've got your ace, your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and all the way through, and then you've got your page. What have you got? You've got your page, your queen, your king. See, I haven't used them for quite a while. So for each of those 4 decks, or those 4 minors, you've got 1 each of those cards. So it's like a deck of cards, and all the ones mean similar things in those decks. So they're all so infused with numerology and symbols, which deepens the meaning of each of those different cards. You can get a more in-depth reading with a tarot, but it's a bigger investment in time to learn and to connect with tarot. Now, tarots are usually, you use them in a spread, and there's different sorts of spreads. A spread is how you lay the cards out, and depending on what position those cards come out, as to their an extra level of their meaning. Okay, so it can be very time consuming to learn those. So a lot of people start with those and then move on to oracles. Some prefer to stay with the tarots. Each card has a complex meaning that takes a lot of time to learn, and it usually always comes with guidebooks. Okay, but readings with the tarot is more detailed and lengthy, with many different layers of how, depending on, like I said, where those cards land, as to the meanings of them. So the oracles are more of modern form. So they've only they obviously don't have the history that the tarot does. They're a more simple style of card and a style of read. They have singular images that have quick prompts for the reader. There's more freedom in those ones too, because they're not set out in decks. There's no set number of cards. You can have as little or as many as you like. I actually made my own oracles up towards the end of last year, and I made over 100 cards. It doesn't mean I use 100 cards every reading. I do sometimes, but I have set them out because I've been dealing with tarot and other oracles for, I think my first tarot, it's around here somewhere. I'll show you. It's old. It's 30 years old. Oops, I'm dropping everything here. So it's very well loved. Look at the ends of the poor cards. Okay. And these ones, that's not a good one to start with, is it? Change. Yeah, let's change that. So these ones are, I'm trying to work out this camera. So they've got the prompts. So you've got your timings down the bottom there with the numbers. You've got your reverse meanings. You've got your basic meaning, and then you've got your next level of meaning. So those ones I've been using, and there's only like, where are we? It's not too many of them. They have been working for me for 30 years now. I love them dearly. I don't use them a lot now because I'm now using the ones that I made up, and I'll show you those shortly. So Oracle has no set number in the deck. It has no suits, so it doesn't have the wands, the cups, pentacles, and swords. They can come with a guidebook. Some of the sets do, some don't. So you can use them in a spread, but you don't need to. So you can do what I call a card pull. So it's just shuffling and letting them fly out as they are. Hi, Julie. How are you? So yeah, doing a card pull where you just shuffle, asking a question, and wait till one pops out, and take that from there. Because the Oracle deck is different, it can give you, like all the different Oracle decks you can get. it can give you a fresh perspective, because you can use 1 or 2 or even 3 different decks in a reading if you like. And I've done that quite a bit, and they're a lot easier to learn, especially if you make them yourself, because all the graphics, and I'll show you some of them. Where are they? Oh, they're hiding under my paper. All the graphics that I have on my cards mean something to me. So yeah, I'll show you a few of them. Okay, and I've created all these myself. Oh, that's upside down. Okay, so that one's healing, release, recovery. That's a cool photo. Law of attraction, make your thoughts and actions positive. Okay, so yeah, so I made them, and there's more here. I've just got them propping up the camera at the moment because it's a bit on edge tonight. So there's probably about that many. So there's 100 cards, and it takes a long time to get to connect with your cards too. So, all right, so a couple of the differences in the actual physical cards. So does size matter? Hell yes, it does. I'll just leave that there. So this is the size of a normal playing card, and this is the size of a tarot. So it's quite a, trying to work with this camera, quite a difference. So they're about the same, or they're a little bit wider as well. Tiny bit wider, just a little bit. Yeah, so the tarot cards are this size. Oracle cards can come in any size. They can come in small, the smaller ones, or the larger ones. They can come square, they can come round. Now, just having another difference is when you have, I've pulled out some of my packs that I've got stored in my cupboard. So how do you know the difference? Okay, it'll tell you. So those ones are Oracle cards. Those ones are Oracle cards. Whoops, where at? Meditation deck. Okay, so obviously you can meditate on what comes up on these, but they are essentially Oracle cards. These ones here are lesson cards again, and see how it says there's 40, I don't know if you can see it, 44. That's a good indication that it's not a tarot. Tarots have 78, so they have the 2 split decks, okay? I have a whole heap more in the cupboard. I can't get them all out, but that was just an example to show you how they can be called different things. Tarot is called tarot. Now, these are, okay, the old style tarot, the original. Okay, so you have your 4 different ones. So you've got your pentacles, your wands, your cups, your swords. Okay, now these ones are also tarot. Same size. Okay, I have to do it this way. Same size, but they're slightly different. So these ones, oops, wrong ones. These ones here, okay, have wands just like the other ones. Well, instead of cups, they have chalice. You'd think I'd get it right, wouldn't you? The pentacles are the same. And this one, instead of the swords, they have the athames. Athames, I think that's what they call them. So they're slightly different. They mean the same thing. They're just whoever designed the cards has decided to use those as reference. What have we got there? Oh, okay. So yeah, same size, just different. See, these ones are more detailed. I like these ones. These are my green witch ones. That's really pretty. So it just depends on what you prefer. The tarot comes with a book as well. I do find the tarot hard. The original tarots as well. These ones are a little bit easier because I get more prompts and I get more connection to the actual graphics to help me understand the cards. But yeah, look, each their own. If you're one of these people that like to swap between them, great. good on you. I find it very difficult. So I use the ones that I've made up. Now these are the ones, I'll show you these quickly. These are another set that I made up, but these are the Zener cards. So you might have seen these. And you might have seen the ones with a square and, you know, the star. These are to help you with your intuition. And we'll be using these in class on Wednesdays. But I didn't want to stick with the normal ones. So I have very different logos, graphics on. Oops, that's upside down. Okay, so these are designed to help you with your intuition. Okay, so I've got those ones which are very similar to the generic ones that you get, the old style ones, but I've also got the colors. So I've got all the colors as well, and then I've got the numbers. So if you come to class like Ghostbusters, yeah, that's right, I didn't even think of that. If you come to one of our classes, you'll at some stage be using these when we do our intuition. All right, so are there any questions about tarot and oracle? What do you guys use? Do you use cards? No one uses cards. Occasionally I jump online and do readings. I haven't for a while. I was nearly going to do it yesterday, but yeah, something came up, so I might do that, and we might do some card readings later. Okay, before we move on to our next, Leanne, you use them? So you use tarot. Okay. Do you use the original type that we just showed? I don't know where I've put them now. Or do you have a different type, a more modern design? I find them really hard to use. There's so many. I'm all right, except when it comes to, I'm all right with the majors. It's the minors that I have issues. Yeah, the Rider-Waite. Yep. So before we get into the next topic, does anyone have any topics that they want to bring up, ask a question? No? Okay. We'll get into this. I'll put the cards away. I was nearly started doing a reading then. All right, so we're going to talk about capturing evidence in a paranormal investigation. So how do we do that, and in what ways can we capture evidence? So you've got your photos. Okay, so taking photos with your phone, with digital camera, any sort of photos. We always make sure that we've got a couple of different styles, like either we've got a phone, we've got the digital cameras, we've got the cameras on motion detection, so if something's moving, it'll hopefully pick it up. You've got your videos, so we've usually got a video. If we're doing a long investigation, we usually have a video or two set up on a tripod and just run it throughout the night. You got your voice recording, so that's another way of capturing some evidence. So we're talking about that before. And whether you use the SB7, the 11, the Necro, whatever you're using, you can use just like the old, what are they used to call them? The secretaries used to use them. Can't even think. The little recorders. I have used that way back in the beginning before I got the S-Box 7, I think it was my first one. And that worked not too bad, but the tape buggered up, and I don't think you can get the tapes for them anymore. So then you've got your EMF and your cat balls, or your sensory, so your electromagnetic gadgets. You've got your Ouija board and your table tipping. We don't use the Ouija board too much these days, but we do use the table tipping quite a bit. So we've got a couple of different tables, and our first one, Little Tilly, She goes all right, but she's a little bit shorter, so it's a bit hard on investigation on your back. You have to get the right size seating with her. But we've had a lot of activity on her. We've actually had her moving across the floor, twisting, turning. The only thing she hasn't done is dictaphone. That's it. Thank you. The only thing that she hasn't done is raised off the floor. But I have seen one table in my life actually physically lift off, and that was amazing. And then you've got lots of different gadgets now, all the electronic gadgets, and then a combination. Yeah, it is showing your age and mine. I've actually used them. I just couldn't think of what it was. And the combination. So they're the things that we use to capture the evidence. Now, you can sit for hours at an investigation and have all your cameras going and your video going and all your other bits and pieces going, and you could get nothing. You get absolutely nothing. You get a little blip here and a little blip there, or it could be full on. Belinda, that was an amazing to watch the table tipping. Yeah, I love the table tipping. It was probably about, it was before COVID. So probably, I don't know, about 6 years ago, the first time I used the table, and the first night I used it, it just went crazy. The first night Rob used it was at Newcastle, and it was funny. I've mentioned this story before. Is he was sitting on it with myself and two other people. One of them was the event manager, the tour guide. And when it started moving, she pulled her hands off it. So we all knew that it wasn't her doing anything. And then I thought, well, I'll take my hands off it too. And it was just Rob and this other guy. And they ended up having to get out of their chairs. And it was just, I don't know what's going on with that door out there. I think it's Rob. The table was just going across the room. They had to get out of their chairs and follow it. And afterwards, Rob was like, what the just happened? And he's picked this table up and he's looking at it. He's trying to debunk, which was good, what was going on and how that was working. And mine was just blown. And we were staying in Newcastle doing some investigations, and he said to me, that's it, we need one of those tables. Yeah, Leanne, you like it too. I think, Leanne, have you been with us and done table tipping? I'm not sure. I think you might have, maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else. So we tend to use the table tipping, not so much the Ouija board. The board, I find, I quite like the board, and I've been using that since I was quite young. A lot of people feel uncomfortable with the board, which I understand, but it fascinates me because the board is just a piece of wood, or plastic if you've got a plastic one. Most of them are wood, some of them are cardboard, but it's just a piece of wood. There's nothing special about it. It doesn't have secret powers. It's just like the table. But I think it's because we've been conditioned through Hollywood and through, other people's stories, how freaky boards can be. Now, they can be because they do bring spirit through. And 9 times out of 10, if you've been completely freaked out, won't touch them, it's because you've either watched too many movies, or you or someone you know has gone and done some stupid shit with it when you were younger. And me included, I did it when I was young and stupid, not understanding what it was. And, I kick myself now. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's because people have had those experiences. When we've done tours and we've been running tours and had guests come in to a location, we never do it as part of the night's activities, but we always have it set up in the room so that what's going on here? So that afterwards in free time, people are welcome to go and jump on there and have a look and use it. But we always make sure that either myself or This computer's just playing up now. Either myself or Belinda is there the whole time watching it, just to make sure that the people using the board are doing the right thing and for the right reasons. And also, if we sense that the energy coming from the board is maybe starting to turn a little bit negative, then we can shut the session down. So, but yeah, I mean, I've had my grandfather come through the board and many, many, many years ago now, and tell me that Rob was going to come back from being overseas, where he currently was at the time, and propose to me. He gave me where and he gave me the date, and bang, it actually happened. So, you know, we've also had some really weird, strange, horrible things come through. So, but we've had that on the table too. So you just need to really be careful when you're trying to bring through spirit, making sure that you know how to do it properly, you do it with respect, and that you're doing it with people that have the best intentions and know how to read the room, so to speak, or read the energy and know when it's time to maybe say goodbye and close that session down. And again, make sure when you're having direct contact like that and deliberate contact like that, that you protect yourself first. All right, so the pieces of equipment, we sort of put them into 3 different categories that we use. So you've got your electronic, your old school, and then your everyday items. So we'll just run through a couple of those. So your electronics are your EMFs, so electromagnetic field devices, your cat balls. We haven't had a huge amount of success with cat balls. I think I've seen some people have some decent responses with them. I do like the fact that, they, unlike EMF, if you've got, phones around, that sort of thing, that can set them off. That doesn't seem to happen with the cat balls or anything because they're not picking up EMF, but I don't know how many of them I've stepped on in the dark because I haven't seen them and broken them and that sort of thing. I don't particularly find them easy to roll either on a lot of surfaces. So we've got them, but we don't use them a lot. We use them mainly when we're going to a location where, hey Sarah, how are you, doll? We use them when we're going to a location where we might just be popping in there for a bit. We don't necessarily want to be taking great big bags of equipment because I can just chuck them in my pocket or my handbag or something like that. And they're a quick little way to see if there's any activity, but we don't use them a lot. So EVP, again, we usually do the Necro Act. We've been having a lot of success with that. But when we use anything like that, we're always filming too. One of us, because I've got the app on my phone, so we use my phone for that, and then someone will film it. It's always good to do that because I like having the video and the audio at the same time, because if something's happening with the audio, something might be happening around us that we're videoing. We might not know at the time. We can look back on it. So we always like to video it. You've got your SLS. Look, I'm in 2 minds about the SLS. I've seen some really great stuff with it, and I've seen some really crappy stuff. Oh, wind affects the balls too. They go off. Okay, I didn't know that. You've done a lot of outdoor stuff too, Belle. So, yeah, that's interesting. I haven't had to deal with that. Yeah, the SLS. So I've seen some great work with it. I've seen some. So it does map out. Well, it can map out. I've seen it map out trees, chairs, poles, walls, that sort of thing. I was in 2 minds about it. Wasn't really fussed on it until a night out with Heath from Illawarra Paranormal, and he had his on, and I was under spiritual attack. And again, I'll put that photo. He was generous enough to share that photo with me. And I've put it up a few times now. I'll add that to my list of photos to put up. Let me just write that down. SLS pic. And so at the time I've got a still photo of it. I haven't got the recording of it. And I was under spiritual attack while we yeah, that was a crazy SLS. We were doing a table tipping session in a known haunted location that I had previously been to maybe 3 or 4 times. And we had spirit coming through, and I was communicating with him on the table. EMF was going off. I could feel his energy around me. My whole body was being affected, all down one side. It was heating up. It was hurting. It was burning. I was losing my breath. There was a lot of physical stuff that was going on with me. And Heath just happened to walk around the corner with his SLS on and captured exactly what was going on. And there was a spirit right on top of me, basically. And I think I might be wrong, but I think the one that I can show you is it has its hand on my shoulder. And at the time, my shoulder I have a lot of joint pains anyway, with some illnesses I have. So this was intense pain all down that side of my body. Now, later that night, there was another person sitting next to me, and we had that spirit come back and was starting to attack me again. And she said that she could feel it too, in between us. And I think there's another photo of showing it between the two of us. So that was pretty intense. After that time, I started thinking, well, okay, the SLS does work. And I guess it's just like anything that, yeah, it was crazy. It's like any piece of equipment, whether it be electronic or it be old school. You really need to know how it works and how to use it properly. And obviously, you know, he's a bit of a guru with his tech. Many a times I've gone to him and asked him, you know, advice or how things work or what piece of equipment I should use. But yeah, so after seeing Heath using it, I'm like, wow, yeah, that does work. But I'm not tech savvy at all. And I'm not about to go and spend the money on an SLS when we have shifted more away from the electronic side to the old school side. So you've got your REM pods. The strip lights are cool. So they've been around for a little while, but a lot of people are starting to use them now. So that's the light of strips where you can run them down a hallway or in any section of a room, and they will light up as spirits approaching. So you can see from what direction they're approaching, how close they're getting, or if they're moving further away. I know Amy's Crypt has been using them. Yeah, they look pretty cool. That'd be something I might be interested in purchasing. So I might have a look and see if we can get them a little bit cheaper in the States when we're over there later. You've got all your gadgets that charge the environment with energy, like your static stuff. You've got your thermostat gauges, so you can see when the environment, you've got your change of environment. So all those sort of electronic stuff, you know, we have used in the past. We use some of it now, but like I said, we've gone more old school. The tripwire, that's it. See, thanks. See, it's great having all these people on know what they're talking about, because I don't. So old school is like your Ouija board, your table tipping. It's a mouthful when you try and say Tilly the tipping table. Then you've got scrying. So we do a lot of scrying. So there's the crystal ball scrying, there's water scrying, pendulum, there's the dowsers, mirror scrying. So we've had, again, in our class, we did a scrying session, and we did mirror, and so far we've done mirror and pendulum. And we've had some really interesting responses. And mirror scrying for me it's one of those, it's quite hard to do. Takes a while to get into it, but I've actually had my grandmother come through. That was bizarre, very emotional. Yeah, but it's a great way of doing it. And pendulum I love. And then you've got candles, like another old school way, it was lighting a candle in an environment where there was no wind or air and that sort of thing, and asking questions and doing flame reading. Um, I haven't done that for ages. I might get back into that. I might start doing that again. I've had some great responses with that, and you can actually look it up online. And the shape, you're looking at the shape and the color of the flame, the way it moves, as to, you know, what your responses can be. So you can also ask it. I love it when it pops. You can always, just like the table, you can say, tip left to go for yes and right for no, that sort of thing. So you can do that with the flame, with the candle as well. But also, most importantly is yourself. So, um, you know, being in the environment, feeling the energy, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of the different sensations in your body and how you pick up energy. So we use our bodies, our own senses, quite a bit, and that's how we prefer to do it. So, and then you've got your everyday items like torch. So it was a crazy phase that was going around, and I haven't seen many people do it recently, where and I think it was because a lot of people thought that it was not a very effective way, or it was a fraudulent way. But if you get a torch, and it doesn't work on all of them, but and you unscrew it until it's just not connecting, so the light goes out, and you rest it down. If you then ask questions, and we've had, I've had a little bit of uh, activity with that and some good responses with that. But my sister has used it to communicate with someone that she lost many years ago, and she filmed it for me and sent it to me, and it was crazy. It was so on point, and yeah, it was amazing to watch. We haven't used that for a while. We might do some experiments with that, and we might do them on a live and see how we go. We might start doing some experiments on live and getting a couple of you guys on with us and doing the same experiment in different locations and just seeing how we go. So that'd be pretty cool. Okay, so I've also seen a balloon being used. I haven't used one myself. Don't know how reliable that would be. But yeah, I've seen it being used, and while the person was using it, they believed they were getting these great responses. I'm not so sure myself, but hey, it could have been. But I wasn't feeling that there was any energy in the room. I just felt like it was the atmosphere moving that balloon. A flower. Okay, so we've done this a couple of times years ago. I'll have a drink. Got my cup again, Belle. So putting flour down on a surface, and the intention is to see if spirit can write a name or write something in it. Never had that happen, unfortunately, but it's also a good one if you put down a trigger item, we use a lot of trigger items, and that was my next thing on the list. One of them, when we're dealing with children, of the cup. One of them is when we're dealing in an environment where we know that there are children. I have a little car, it's my grandson's Matchbox car. I've pinched one of them. A good thing is to put some flour down on the surface, just kitchen flour. You can use talc, cornstarch, and just place the item on it. It can be a little ball, a car, whatever. It can even be a coin or something, whatever trigger item it is, and ask them to move it. So you can see, it's very easy to see in that flower if that has moved. Now, there is a museum over at Emu Plains, the Australian Arms Museum, and we used that there. It was actually outside in the barn, and there is a little boy out there. And we had put flour down on the ground. I had put, I think it was the ball and a car and a lollipop. and had put that down on the ground. And while we were there, nothing happened, but we all went out for a quick break. And when we came back, we had a camera on it. Now, the camera didn't pick up any movement, but when we shone our torch on it, you could see that the, was it the ball or the car? No, it was the car, because I thought that, the ball's only a light ball. I thought that that might have been able to roll. So it was the car that had moved, and the car's a little Jeep, and it's got all the little four-wheel drive marks on the tires. You could actually see one or two little marks in the flower. So that was pretty cool. Marbles too. Yep. Marbles are great. So there's lots of different things that you can try, and that's what I love about chatting with different people. We all use different things. So trigger items, depending on where you go. So we went to Trial Bay Jail, and in the little gift shop there, they've got the little trinkety gifty ring with, actually it's around here somewhere, with the jail keys on it. And I was like, it's $9 or something. And I grabbed one of those, and Rob's like, what do you want that for? Like, just buy a magnet or something. And I said, no. This is to use as a trigger item. So we actually used it at Dubbo, and I've used it at Parramatta Jail too. So it's something that is familiar to that environment. So walk around jingling it. Hey, Mia, how are you? So yeah, walk around jingling that and use that as a trigger item, and it definitely worked at Parramatta Jail. We actually we got there was, I think, 3 of us, and we got a guard through, and we offered him a cigarette as another trigger item while we're doing a table tipping session. And we were sitting on the table, and I said, mate, would you like a cigarette? And I put a cigarette on the table. And I said, if you'd like the cigarette, you're welcome to take it. And the table instantly went shoo, and the cigarette fell off onto the ground on the side where we had heard jingling keys and footsteps. So that was really cool. Cigarettes are a great one. So are little bottles of, you can buy the little bottles in the bottle shop of, bourbon or whiskey. Whiskey or rum is the better one to offer. I know the girls from Adelaide's Most Haunted, Kaganelli, they, in a lot of their investigations, they use little bottles of whiskey, cigarettes, lollies, coins. We use coins as well. So it just depends on what location as to what. Hey, Louise, how are you, doll? It just depends on what location you're dealing with as to what trigger items might be useful. So there's no point in having, if you're in an area where there's a lot of children, there's no point in jingling and using your prison keys. Think about lollies. Like I have Chubba Chups. They're probably old as hell. You wouldn't want to eat them now because they've been in the kit for probably about 6 or 7 years. But Chubba Chup, a ball. I've got a little doll, a little matchbox car, just different things like that. If you go to a prison, things like coins, cigarettes, alcohol. I have a pocket knife or a shiv. Belinda, I used one of my cigarettes at Beechworth Jail. Yeah. So think about the people that have that were there, what their currency might be, what might they come through for. So you wouldn't go and use those sorts of things in, well, some of them you would, but you wouldn't go and put a shiv out in an asylum. You might put a teddy bear. You'll probably get a lot more response from a teddy bear in an asylum, or lollies, maybe cigarettes, maybe some coins, something like that. So be adventurous and experimental with your triggers, because anything could work. Also, one of the triggers that we've been using a lot is music. So depending on the era of the place or the type of place that we are investigating, depending on the music that we're playing. And we've had at Beechworth Asylum, we've had some really good responses with music. We've had some great responses at one of the asylums. I can't think of the name of it now at the top of my head, down in Adelaide. So yeah, sometimes music's really good to as a trigger, but it's also good to, if you're in an environment where it's really active for a little bit and then it dies down, it's also good to put some music on, maybe to pump up the energy, pump up your energy again, and hopefully the spirit's energy, and attract the spirit too. So, okay, I think we are just about done for tonight. So thank you for joining us. We'll be back next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Like I said, everyone that interacted last week and this week will go into the draw for a spirit pack that we'll be giving away. That'll be drawn tomorrow. I've got a few things to do in the morning, but by tomorrow afternoon we'll have that drawn done. Another quick mention too also is, if you don't already have tickets and you possibly would like them, or you can go, Appy is running a fundraiser for one of their team members, Linda, who is in hospital, who suffered a horrific attack, a dog attack. And the Appy team, or the Appy family, rallied around, and they are putting on a huge event at Parramatta Jail on Saturday the 23rd of March from 7 till 10. There'll be ghost hunts, there'll be different talks, there'll be readers, there'll be stalls, there'll be stalls, there'll be lots of different activities that you can do, heaps of raffles, some great raffle prizes, some spiritual stuff, some paranormal stuff, some foodie stuff, really cool. So we had planned to go, and as soon as the event came up, jumped up and grabbed tickets, and then realised I'd double booked myself. So we gave those tickets away that ticket away last week, and we've put together a pack. Belinda and Vicky from Western Sydney Spirit Sisters and Rob and I have put together a pack that we'll be donating for raffle. So please, if you can go, all the money being raised is going to Linda and her ongoing care. She's going to need a lot of physio and medical care for quite some time, and it'll help with making sure that her rent's covered and that sort of thing. So if you can't go, if you've got a business that maybe you can donate something to them, please contact Pete at Appy, just through Facebook, and I'm sure she'd love to hear from you. If not, they also have a GoFundMe page, even if $5, even if you can put just $5 in. I know it's tough on everyone at the moment, but every cent will count. And I'm sure Linda would be most appreciative of even $1. I mean, poor girl doesn't even know that this is going on, I don't think, but the Appy family has rallied around. So, and it's been amazing to see the whole paranormal field, even overseas, coming and sending lots of love and donations and getting behind this event. So if you can, that would be great. If you're in Penrith or close to Penrith, we are now running, and have been for a few weeks now, Penrith Spiritual Group, which meets fortnightly on a Wednesday. The next one is Wednesday the 6th of March from 7 till 10. And we get together and we do lots of different stuff. We've been doing a lot of energy work. So energy, feeling your own energy, understanding energy, protecting your own energy. We've been working on sigils. And there's some of the things that we're going to be talking about on here next Tuesday. So we've had some good responses from our class, and everyone in class has been working really well together and having some great personal goals reached, and it's been really good to see. So next week on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. We're going to be talking about energy and feeling your own energy. We're going to be doing a couple of little hands-on activities that we can all do online. And we're going to talk about protecting your own energy and from the energy vampires, because we all have energy vampires in our life and they all need to just bugger off, but they won't. So we need to learn how to make them bugger off and not affect us. We're going to be talking about sigils and what sigils are and how we can incorporate them into our lives and how they work. We're going to talk about starting your own investigation team, the do's and don'ts, the should I, shouldn't I, and how to do that. Hey, Paul and Antoinette. I'm not sure who's on watching. It might be both of you. We're going to talk about the do's and don'ts of investigating. There are lots of those, and there are some things that you may not have thought about, and you need to understand them and put them into practice before you go out in the field. We're going to talk about how to approach different locations, how to investigate different locations, what techniques to use, what equipment to use in different haunted locations. We're going to talk about how to do a walkthrough properly and the process of doing a walkthrough of an investigation properly. And we're going to talk about private investigations, the do's and don'ts, and the pros and cons of doing private investigations. Some of them can be great, some of them can be really difficult. It's Antoinette. Hi, doll. So, yes, that will be for next week. Does anyone have any questions or anything they want to talk about? We could squeeze in another 10 minutes, maybe, if anyone's got anything. Oh, it's good when everyone knows each other and everyone's saying hi to each other. So is there any locations that you might want to discuss? Is there any topics that you would like brought up in the next coming couple of weeks? Nothing. Okay. What I might do is just wait a couple of seconds. I got my cards. Okay, has anyone got a question? I can't be trusted to bring up a topic at the moment. You're fine, Mia. You can bring up whatever you like. Because, you know what? Whatever you're going through, probably the rest of us have either been through it, going through it, or going to go through it. As long as we don't have names. But, yeah, if you want to bring up a topic, go for it. Okay, so is there any topics that we can bring up that I can add to the list for next week that you might want to, or has anyone got a question for cards? Does anyone want a quick card? I can do one or two before we go. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Be an individual. Don't worry about what others think. Do it your way. Well, we all know who that one's for, don't we, Mia? That's what just came out, doll. There you go. And on that one, it says the other one that fell out was gratitude, appreciation, find the silver lining and manifest what's next. So that's your next step, which is what you're moving into. Okay, and I got the card yes also fly out. So whatever you asked yourself or thought about or considered asking me about, that's the answer, yes. Okay. Leanne, do you just want a card or you want a question, doll? Oh, I nearly fell off my chair then. No surprises. All right, Leanne, just a card or you want to ask a question? I think it's just a card, okay. I was sitting waiting because nothing's jumping out at me. Oh, I don't know if you saw that one. Someone is looking to you for guidance. Be kind, supportive, and patient. So maybe you have got somebody that's looking up to you for a little bit of... Let's just see if we can get any more information here. Oh. Okay, it's come up: family, bonds, new life partner, and friends. Okay, so has someone been needing some advice, some support from you about a relationship? Or that may even be you, actually. Let's see what else we've got. So let's just ask in what direction you should take this. Okay, there's spiritual awakening, psychic ability there. So it's suggesting that, that resonates so much. Okay, so this is suggesting that you yourself have spiritual abilities, and people are recognizing that in you and feeling confident that your advice is sound advice. So, good night, Belle. You have a stupid o'clock alarm. All right, it was lovely seeing you again, honey. We do have to catch up, please. Actually, we're coming to Wollongong soon, in a couple of weeks. Maybe we can catch up and have a coffee. Okay. All right, no, Belle. Leanne, sorry, getting back to you. Yeah, maybe they're sensing that you have this ability, that they're trusting in what you've got to say. But I'm feeling like there's a warning there for you, that maybe this person, let me just see. Oh, I got the goosebumps. And okay, so it's come for you for rest, breathe, heal, time out, and regroup. Look how cute he is. How cute's he? Do not disturb. I'm feeling like you may be a little bit, not so much with this, but just in general, that you may be a little bit overwhelmed, that you're probably taking too much on your plate. And maybe everyone wants a little piece of you, and you're giving too many little pieces away. Vulnerable, weak, struggle, lack of communication. Okay, I don't know if that makes any sense for you, but I want to go back to this advice that someone's seeking from you. It feels like there's a little bit of a warning there that maybe you need to hold back a little bit of the information that you are getting for that person, because this person may not take the steps that they need to take on their own, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Leah? Leanne? Let's see. What's the red flag? What's the warning? Oh, it's not going to tell me. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, so this healing, release, and recovery. So what, to me, this is saying that this person needs some healing, needs some release, but they can get advice from you, but they need to do the work themselves. So just make sure that they're not relying too heavily on your suggestions or your advice, because you can't do the work for them. Does that make any sense? Let me know. Does anyone else want a quick card? I'll probably one or two more quickly. Oh, whoa. Just as I saw your message come up, let me read it first. It does make sense. They do rely on me too much and they need to do it for themselves. Exactly right. For you, I just got the rainbow cards. So rainbow, silver lining, appreciation, joy, better times ahead for you. So I think you're the one that needs the rest, the breather, the time out, but and that you're giving too much of yourself, but it's saying that better times are coming. Cool. Excellent. Rachel, hey, how are you? Okay, Rachel, do you just want a card or do you want to ask a question, doll? Oh. Okay. So, card that came up for you, Rachel. How pretty is she? I'm still not getting this camera right. I'm not good with my opposites. Trust your intuition, spiritual growth, meditation, ask for guidance. Hello, just a general. Okay. All right, what's coming up for Rach? Oy. Okay, Rach, you need to disconnect from the world, rejuvenate yourself, and look for more positivity in your life. You need a little away in the cabin in the snow by the lake. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Oh, jeez. You need to put some, there's travel, but you need to put some distance between yourself and a situation at the moment that is a little bit too close, that you're struggling with. But it is telling me that there is some better days. Some sun is going to shine on that topic. There are better days coming for you. What does Rach need to do besides disconnect and... Is that making any sense for you, doll? Oh. Okay, you're on the right path. Keep going, but you do need to just take a little bit of a break, a breather. Oh, okay. You need to start speaking your truth. You need to really start speaking your truth because you're holding back. And everything that's building up inside of you. Night, Dawn. Night, Leanne. Good night. Another good live this evening. See you next week. I have to get up early and feed the livestock before it gets too hot. Okay. Good to see you, doll. Rachel, speaking your truth, I think that you are holding too much in around here. So not speaking your truth and around on your chest. You're holding tension. It feels like you don't feel like you have the ability or the power or the confidence to speak your truth, and it's probably saying no to some things or some people. Oh, and that's gone on the floor. Hang on a sec. Oh. Okay. Love, unconditional, love yourself first. You are enough. And you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be your authentic self, and you deserve to be not used. Sorry, that's what I'm getting through. Does that, Rach, does that make sense? I'm going to do one more card for you. Oh, yeah. See that? That's what you need. I just asked what you need, and you get this one. Okay, childlike, playful, joy, fun. So you need to. My cards have just gone all crazy. Some of them have just flipped backwards. So yeah, you need to take some more time for yourself. You need to disconnect from whatever's going on at the moment, or whoever's causing that tension, or you not being able to say what you need to say. Yeah, you need to look after yourself. You are good enough. You are deserving of more. You don't need to take other people's crap. But it's something that feels like you've always done, so you're sort of stuck in a rut and you don't know how else to proceed. Okay, so stand up for yourself, girl. All right, one more. We got one more. Antoinette. Okay, you're the... Oh, another one on the floor. Oh, okay. Antoinette, you need to push your comfort zone. Okay, why do we need to push our comfort zone? Do you want just a card, or have you got a question, doll? You're welcome, Rach. Oh. Okay. Let me start this again because I've just had all the cards that came out for Rachel coming out again. So, Antoinette, let me know. Do you just want a card or do you want a question? I'm going to ask a question. This is the last one for the night, and then we're going to head off. Oh. Okay. I've had 2 cards just jump. Okay, we might have lost Antoinette. No, okay. All right, we must have lost her. Okay, all right. Thank you, everyone, for joining tonight. And we will see you next week. I may jump on during the week. I've got a bit of a busy week, but I may jump on the week and do it again. All right, good night. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you next week, same time, 8 o'clock on Tuesday. Take care and have a great weekend.